Pilot refuses to let a passenger board, turns pale when he shows his FBI credentials. Marcus Reynolds adjusted his sleek black leather briefcase and stepped up to the boarding gate, his calm demeanor hiding the storm of thoughts racing in his mind. As an FBI special agent, he was no stranger to tense situations, but what awaited him today was something entirely different. "Good afternoon, sir. May I see your boarding pass and ID?" asked the gate agent with a polite smile. Marcus handed over the documents, his hand steady. Everything was routine until the pilot appeared. Captain Hollingsworth, a tall, stern man with a commanding presence, leaned over and squinted at Marcus. "I'm sorry, sir, but you can't board this flight." Marcus blinked, taken aback. "Excuse me?" The pilot's eyes didn't waver. "I said you cannot board." "I have a valid ticket," Marcus replied, keeping his voice firm but controlled. "May I ask why?" The pilot shifted uncomfortably. "It's company policy." Marcus's brows furrowed. He had flown dozens of flights for work, and he knew company policies did not include barring a passenger without a reason. His instincts told him this was something personal. "Sir," Marcus said, lowering his voice, "I've been traveling on official business. I have clearance to be on this flight. If there's an issue, I can show you my credentials." Hollingsworth's jaw tightened. "It's just, I'm not comfortable. I don't know you." Marcus took a slow breath. "I understand. But you do know me, actually. I am Special Agent Marcus Reynolds of the FBI. If you want to verify, you can call my office." The pilot froze. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for the walkie-talkie clipped to his belt. His confident posture faltered. Marcus, noticing the change, kept his composure. "Sir, you don't need to make a call," Marcus said calmly. He pulled out his FBI credentials and held them up. The gold badge glimmered in the airport lights. "I suggest you take a look at these before we escalate this further." Hollingsworth's face turned pale. His mouth opened, then closed. He swallowed hard, clearly struggling to regain his composure. I, the pilot stammered, unable to finish the sentence. Marcus remained silent, giving the pilot a moment to collect himself. Around them, passengers shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension but not knowing the details. Finally, Hollingsworth stepped back and gestured reluctantly. "Why you can board. Please, just follow the procedure." Marcus nodded, slipping past him without a word. He could feel the weight of the pilot's judgment and bias, but he refused to let it show. His focus was on the mission at hand, the paperwork, and the meeting waiting for him in Washington D.C. As he walked down the jet bridge, Marcus's thoughts swirled. This wasn't just about a flight. It was about a system that still treated people differently based on their skin color, even in the 21st century. And yet, he reminded himself, standing up calmly and professionally often speaks louder than confrontation. Once seated, Marcus noticed the pilot avoiding eye contact as he walked past. A few other passengers glanced curiously, sensing something had happened. The flight attendants were professional, but Marcus could see their subtle relief when the tension between him and the captain seemed to dissipate. The engines roared to life, and the plane began taxiing. Marcus leaned back in his seat, letting out a quiet sigh. This encounter, while unnerving, reminded him of the importance of presence, authority, and confidence. In his line of work, these traits weren't just useful, they were life-saving. As the plane ascended, Marcus looked out the window at the sprawling city below. He thought about the countless cases he had handled, the criminals he had apprehended, and the moments where his badge made a difference. Yet today, the badge served a different purpose. It reminded someone that respect isn't optional, that professionalism and equality cannot be ignored. Halfway through the flight, Marcus's phone buzzed. A message from his assistant confirmed that the meeting was still on schedule. He allowed himself a small smile. Mission first, he reminded himself. Everything else, even encounters like today's, could be lessons in patience and dignity. When the plane finally touched down in Washington, Marcus gathered his belongings and prepared to disembark. The pilot, now fully composed, offered a stiff nod as Marcus passed. It was not an apology, but it was an acknowledgement of the reality Marcus had forced the pilot to face. Marcus walked through the terminal with a quiet sense of satisfaction. He hadn't raised his voice or created a scene. He hadn't allowed the prejudice to dictate his actions. Instead, he had let the truth and his credentials speak for themselves. Outside, the city buzzed with life, unaware of the small but significant victory that had just occurred in the skies above. Marcus stepped into a waiting car, ready to continue his day, his mind already shifting to the next challenge. In a world full of biases and barriers, Marcus Reynolds had learned that dignity, professionalism, and authority could break through even the most stubborn prejudices. And sometimes, all it took was a calm voice, a badge, and the unwavering certainty of one's identity to turn fear and ignorance into acknowledgement. As the car merged into traffic, Marcus glanced at the skyline, thinking about justice, equality, and the work still ahead. Today, he had flown above prejudice. Tomorrow, he would continue to fight it on every front.